Is this all three of us together again?
We made it.
It has been 84 years. I wasn't here last. No one was here last week. So
The fellowship is back.
It has. We have united in honor of Comic-Con and the Rings of Power trailer.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Thursday night. We'll give folks some time to come in, but it is certainly exciting to be back. We have a lot to talk about, a lot of smaller stories as we march forward towards Andor. But we've had some fun Star Wars stories this week, some fun non-Star Wars stories this week as well. So we'll let folks keep coming in, and then we'll get started with all of the juicy rumors and stories and catch up. Guys. Oh, I didn't even notice the cat, Jimmy. Good call.
That's Gail's cat, Luna.
Adorable. Cute cat for the win. Big fan.
Mr. Blue, of course, joining us. Thank you.
In some unrelated Star Wars news, I want to say this as we get the stream started off. There's there's one really main non-Star Wars related take I need everyone to kind of be aware of. And if folks aren't in the stream yet, they're going to miss a nugget. So you people here earlier are getting a rare insight. There's a movie from India. It is a Tollywood film called RRR, and it came out on Netflix a couple weeks ago. It was released in India and a little bit in the United States earlier this year in like January, March. And it is like the most fun you'll have watching an action movie like ever. I watched it a couple weekends ago. Just had an absolute blast with my friends, our wives. We all got together. It was like a group of 6 of us. We had a tremendous time. So that is Josh's recommendation for Netflix in the next couple weeks. Get with some family, friends, watch RRR. That's the letter R 3 times. It is such a good time. India gave us an absolute gem. Cannot recommend it enough. I told Ben about it a little bit ago. Said, Ben, you gotta check this out. Get your brother over, watch this.
Definitely.
It is a blast. Such a blast. Such a good time.
Sweetie.
So, do you guys have any secret gems to tell the audience? Any secrets, like, like Jimmy just witnessed a full-on brawl out front of his house a second ago.
Yeah,
is there anything exciting going on, Jimmy, besides that?
Yeah, besides the fight outside my girlfriend's apartment. No, I've just been going hard with content, and I'm glad to be back in the stream finally because it's been tough.
Good to have you, Jim.
Yeah, and it's been one issue after another, and tonight it's a minor one. So this is the mute button for the mic that goes to this headset. If I take my finger off, I can't hear anything.
You'll disappear from the stream.
So
We'll
now
boot you off.
I can't hear him. So I'm going to have to hold this down the entire time to hear the stream. But you know what? We make sacrifices.
That's it.
We do.
That's it.
This is how a rebellion is born.
That's it. There you go. Ben, how's it going, my friend? Are you doing all right this week? You having a good week?
Look, I'm a little happy, but I'm also a little bit pissed off. I'm happy because I finally scored an Xbox, right?
Oh,
okay. Series X, got a bunch of games on it, waiting for all that Star Wars goodness to be announced. Hopefully, maybe, fingers crossed, this Comic-Con will have a little snippet of something for us. But what I'm pissed about, Josh, is that you didn't mention the movie that you claim to be a fan of. That part 2 is being filmed.
I have it.
As we speak. There's no mention of it.
Just to show you, I had it up. I literally had it up.
Okay.
Ready to go.
All right.
Ready to talk about it. So I am a real fan. For those who don't know, Dune started filming this week.
Yes.
Dune Part 2. A movie that shares a lot with Star Wars, shares a history, a legacy of sci-fi greatness. And Ben and I were huge fans of the first one. Second one started filming this week. Very exciting. Very exciting non-Star Wars news, for sure. I know that movie worked extremely well for me. I know some people thought it was a little slow. I think if you didn't go to the theaters, you might have missed a little bit out on like just the pure kind of emotion musical. I mean, it was so powerful in the theater that I think, I think it's kind of part of the experience. So good call on the Dune. Good work, Ben. Good shout out there. Guys, I gotta be honest with you.
The other day.
Oh, nice. Okay,
Ben has read the book on it, and I wasn't sure of it though.
Ben has read the book. The first book only, or have you read the sequel, Ben?
Of what are we talking about?
Dune.
Yeah, I've read the first one. I'm in the middle of the second one, Dune Messiah, which is quite different. I think
I've heard
it
it's
draws very
quite different.
interesting parallels for Star Wars fans, because you know how a lot of fans were unhappy of Anakin going the dark path before they knew, obviously, the end of the prequel story, where you take a character who's supposed to be a hero that you look up to at the end of the third movie of the prequels, he turns evil. And the same with Doom second book, where Frank Herbert said, look, I wanted to subvert my fans' expectations and take a familiar hero, Paul Atreides, and do something interesting with him in the second book. And it was, fans were highly critical of it. It just shows how, like, when somebody's very devoted to something, regardless of what generation it is or whether it's Dune or Star Wars, fans will always respond in kind. They'll let you know what they dislike.
That's true. I know a lot of people don't like the books after the first one.
Yeah.
One small bit of news. Let's start with the Star Wars updates. It's Comic-Con this weekend, guys. So we're going to get a lot of fun trailers and previews and maybe some Star Wars news. We do know Andor has a little bit of a presence, and I'll go ahead and pull up. They have a little bit of an exhibit for Andor where they have some of the costumes on display here as part of San Diego Comic-Con. We have the wonderful dress here, as well as the fancy jacket. Star Wars need your nice jackets here, as well as my new favorite character. His abbreviation is officially B2EMO, but it says here on the little card, it's B2 or simply B. So I'm going to call him B2. I love this droid. He's a hero.
Emo.
See, that's what I was going to say. I thought I read it as
I know,
B2,
emo was the play.
and I was
Emo
like,
was the play. I love this guy. Okay, he's a hero already.
He's a young droid.
His backstory is he's a very old and weary ground mech salvage assist unit that's been towing scrap for the Andor family for years. So he's an old droid who just lugs junk around. Okay, and
we love him.
We love him.
And he's tiny, right? He's supposed to be small scale.
I think so. Here's him compared to Andor. I mean, he's a good size. He's like an R2 unit. I mean, an astromech. He's
a little shorter, but yeah, he's pretty tiny.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I love it.
I hope he kicks butt.
Him.
He kind of looks like a small mobile tank.
Yeah, he does.
Right?
He does look a little tank. I love it. It's adorable. It's like a little scorpion tank. I don't know. I love him. I don't know if we'll get any more trailers or reveals for Andor. Guys, we're actually about a month away at this point. And it's interesting to me how quickly this kind of snuck up on us. We've been talking a little bit about how there's not been a ton of Star Wars news, and it's been a little bit of a slow period after Obi-Wan. Gonk on wheels. Exactly. I love it. But with all that being said, I keep talking about this, Jimmy and I do offline. In 4 weeks, we're about to start an entire new show, followed by 2 new animated projects in Tales of the Jedi, as well as the next season of The Bad Batch. Oh, and we're getting our next entire phase started of the High Republic. I mean, in the next 5 months, we're going to be completely swamped with content.
Yeah.
And so, I know right now it's been a little slow, and we had Shadow of the Sith, we had Brotherhood, we had Obi-Wan, and then it was like, okay, we're in kind of a little bit of a slow period. Not for long, folks. It's about to pick up. And I know if there's one thing we tend to all agree on, animated Star Wars has been absolutely phenomenal recently. And so Bad Batch, Tales of the Jedi, I am just absolutely thrilled to get started in both of those worlds. So Andor gets us kicked off, though, with this next half year of content. How are you guys feeling about Andor? There was a small little teaser this week that showed almost no new footage. Mm-hmm. We're about a month away. We're on the cusp. Where are we at with Andor? How excited are we? Jimmy, let's start with you. Maybe you can let go of the button for a second to take a break. Hold it.
So the thing was, I saw the new Andor teaser because I had seen it. It went up, and I was like, "Whoa, this is new!" And it was like new footage. It was like one scene of Cassian walking, and I was like, "Okay." I mean, they're not lying. It is technically new footage. So, the one big takeaway though from the Andor trailer is, why does Mon Mothma just not age? Because Gail and I were going through the Clone Wars, and Mon Mothma made her appearance, and she looks the same there. She looks the same in Andor. She looks the same in Rogue One, Return of the Jedi.
So to be in the Galactic Senate, you have to drink the blood of young aliens, and that makes you immortal. And you'll see that explored in the show Andor.
See, I'm genuinely thinking that because she's from Chandrilla, maybe they just have a longer lifespan.
Oh, so you're making like an in-universe explanation, Jimmy?
Okay, I always have to try to make it make sense.
That's a good one. You were right, though.
Until proven otherwise,
I'm very excited about her storyline, though, jokes aside, for the simple fact that we talked about it. getting an insight into the Senate at this point in the galaxy has a real potential to be very fascinating stuff. I was rewatching Rogue One recently, and I was rewatching specifically, I really highlighted in on the scene with Krennic and Vader, where Vader is talking about like the Senate, and like he makes a reference to the Senate, like what they need to know about the weapon or what the Emperor's told the Senate. And I'm like, oh, that is so cool. Like they're still the Senate holding court, you know? I love that whole vibe, because when you see the original trilogy in A New Hope, there's really not any, you don't really have an appreciation that there's some galactic Senate with some evil emperor at the center of it. But, you know, because of the knowledge we gained from the Clone Wars and from the whole prequel trilogy, we know like there's this active Senate. We even know some of the members of the Senate. And so it's going to be very interesting to see how we see that transition. Bad Batch is showing us the transition of the clone troopers over to the stormtroopers. We're seeing like how those programs are started, how they were trained by the clone commandos, and that's fascinating. We see the end of Camino, and this show can really kind of show us maybe the end of the Senate, or what, you know, the downfall of the Senate and what happens with the building of the rebellion. So really cool details here we're exploring. So very excited to see that.
Yeah.
Ben, where are you at, my friend?
I would say I am approaching it like every other live action show, you know, cautiously optimistic. Not really any expectations there, just take it wherever you will. But what I would hope to see is a different storytelling structure. If we go, you know, Quentin Tarantino route of, you know, the Pulp Fiction, where you have several parallel stories running at the same time, and then you kind of like bring them together either thematically or your actual characters meet throughout the storyline, that would be kind of interesting, because this sort of story, war on all fronts, really, really calls for it, right? You could have a war in the Senate where Mon Mothma is trying to challenge, the Emperor's rule every step of the way. I think it's a perfect opportunity to reintroduce Jimmy Smits, where we would see some Bail Organa. He's trying to get things established in his way, say, you know what, this Senate thing is not going to work out for us. Let's start preparing those early cells. And then you could introduce other characters via, you know, somebody familiar, somebody entirely new, and they don't necessarily have to cross paths with our main protagonist, Cassian.
Yeah.
Right. They could just run parallel to him, and their story somehow connects into overall thing. That's the only thing. But honestly, Josh, you and I, we spoke about it earlier. I don't get hyped anymore prior to the actual first episode. Let's just sit down, watch the first episode. I hope it really catches our attention. Be like, dude, I can't wait to see more. Then I'll get excited.
Yeah. As I've talked about, you know, Jimmy and I are, well, I don't speak for Jimmy, but I'm certainly someone who enjoys the kind of pre-show fanfare and hype. I love Comic-Con and Star Wars Celebration and things like that. I enjoy it, kind of the community hype up moments for sure. So I'm a sucker for a good kind of hype cycle. And I don't expect we're going to see a lot of Star Wars news this weekend at all. But it doesn't mean we aren't close to getting some really good juicy bits in just a month. We got the full show coming. You know, it's going to be great. Well, I hope it's great. I'm excited for it nonetheless.
See,
I will tell you this.
I think it will be good.
Go ahead.
Because, you know, and I'll take it back to Ben's point, and a lot of people's points, because I've thought about this over the last, you know, month or so. It's that with shows like Kenobi and the Book of Boba Fett, those being such prominent characters, there were a lot of expectations and a lot of, you know, excitement leading into that.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, you know, Andor is still a loved character, but he has not been around as long, so I don't think the hype for him is as big as characters like Boba Fett and Kenobi. So the expectations are already low going into this, which will give the show time to shine, because we don't know what we're going to get out of it. Yeah. So I think we'll just be more of a, oh, okay, kind of like a,
there's a lot more room to play around with this
like,
character and do innovative things. Very good point.
Yeah. We will watch your career with great interest.
There you go. Yeah. Definitely. Well, you know, and Blue Pig makes a point here I think a lot of people would share, you know, which is I'd rather get one thing every few years that's really good than a bunch of, you know, stuff that doesn't meet my expectations, which is fair. I know there's some fans who feel that way. I feel satisfied in a lot of the content we've got. Specifically, you know, I love the fact that we're getting more Bad Batch so soon, because I just adored that first season, and the fact that we get to only had to wait a year to get more is really, really exciting for me. And the leaked trailer I saw for Tales of the Jedi, I know it's gonna be very short. It's not gonna be a lot. It's gonna be short, similar to Visions. But if it is the quality of Visions, I mean, we got another home run on the way. I mean, I love Visions. I love it more. I rewatch those shorts all the time. I'm sure you guys do too. Just so occasionally go back and revisit. Village Bride. I love that, and the Ninth Jedi in particular. Those two I watch.
So just the other day at work when I went on my 15-minute break, I watched The Elder again.
Elder's great too.
Yeah,
really, the duel's great too. I mean,
I haven't been rewatching anything, guys. I've been just trying to catch up on my canon reading. I'm still trying to slide a couple of books in, from Legends, because I'm still trying to go through those, like the Young Jedi Knight series and Michael Stackpole's X-Wing series. But of course, I got to catch up on this and reading the Daniel Jose Older's Crash Point Tower
Race
book.
to Crash Point Tower.
Yeah. So he, interestingly enough, his style is very similar to Justinian Ireland. For some reason, I don't know why. I almost mixed them up together.
I agree.
So it's such a nice consistency there.
I think it's because they both write with the young adult series. I mean, for me, when it comes to the High Republic in particular, the adult novels, the core three, like adult mainline stories, Light of the Jedi,
The
Rising Storm, and
The Fallen Star.
I was literally going to call it Starlight Beacon Goes Down.
Close.
The Fallen Star. I think we're all like really, really good. And the other stories I think are great supporting pieces if you want to spend time in the universe. Like you'll be rewarded from reading them and getting a lot of characters. Like when Claudia Gray wrote Into the Dark. Was it? Yeah, that was it. I'm thinking Out of the Shadows. See, those two always get me. Into the Dark, Out of the Shadows.
There's a lot of books, guys.
Yeah, Into the Dark, I just absolutely loved. Anyway, so we'll see. I hope. I think one thing that unfortunately has kind of happened, and this might be a good thing, is because it's been so long since we've got a High Republic story. Like I feel like I forgot a lot of the stuff. Now the good news is it's a whole new it's years and years, hundreds of years earlier or whatever. So I don't have to remember everything, but it's like, oh my gosh, we had so many stories and we had like 6-7 month break. It's like I need to re-get my mind ready for that next wave.
And I think it's going to be great because like right now, I decided to lean into the audiobooks just because I have to drive so far to and from for work. And I know Josh is happy about that. And I'm very impressed with him, but I went right through Shadow of the Sith. I've got a little under an hour left in Brotherhood, which will have me a little bit of leeway before Padawan comes out next week.
Yeah. I think the Padawan will tie into Brotherhood pretty well.
I think it will, and I'm excited. I think we're going to get a little more Dexter in there too, which is always good.
I'm very looking forward to your review of the Brotherhood because I loved it, man, from start to finish. So what the show didn't give me, the book had a plenty, man. It was just lovely.
I got plenty to say about the book. Don't you worry.
Nice.
I would say, for myself, the audiobook experience, and we were talking about this a little bit while we waited to get the stream started. It's very hard. I mean, I'm so behind on Shadow of the Sith because when it gets really busy, it's just hard to make time to read for me. And so sometimes the only time I can read is driving home from work. I mean, honestly, like that 25, 30 minutes I drive home to work. And so it could take me a long time to finish a book that's 16, 17 hours long.
And even then, like I've had days where like I'm trying to listen on my way home.
I just can't focus.
Yep.
Yeah. Especially if it's a really busy day at work. And so it's been tough for me, but I'm glad Jimmy's in because Jimmy's got a long drive.
Holding it down for the two of us.
He is. He's keeping the books.
Worry.
He's getting the books read for me. So we appreciate Jimmy here. Let's talk about a couple big stories, guys. And I say big loosely. Some people don't feel like these are big stories, but we haven't had a ton of huge news, so we got to take what we can get.
It's been very dry this summer.
Okay. So what is Josh looking at right here? Okay, you might be saying, "What the heck is this?" And fair enough, I might need to zoom in. Okay, let me pick a different image here. I picked the wrong image, guys. I'm sorry.
Stand by.
So, Book of Boba Fett, season 2. Are we getting it? Are we not? They are doing a concert right now in Argentina for Star Wars, and they're gonna have like some Star Wars songs played, etc. And they put out this flyer for it, and it's interesting because if you look at down here at Andor, it says in Spanish here. I apologize to everyone in the chat here. My Spanish is terrible, but it's like temporada, right? Which means like temporary or season, right? It means time, like temporal, right? The Latin words there. So you can think of it as season 1. Temporada uno, right? It's season 1. and it says, coming out the 31st of August. Like, okay, interesting. And then Obi-Wan, it says like the season's available. It's available now. And then you see for Mandalorian, it says, seasons 1 and 2 out now. Season 3, muy pronto, right? Meaning very soon, very quick. Yeah. It's coming soon, right? And so then we come up to Bad Batch. It says, temporada uno. It's out now. It says season 2, muy pronto, coming soon. But look at Book of Boba Fett, or El Libro de Boba Fett. Season 1 out now. Season 2 coming soon. And so some of us on the internet, myself included, said, hey, this might be kind of our first leak that it's in development, right? That they're working on it. We should expect the second season. Now, I've heard a lot of people say, hey, a flyer for like a Disney, concert they're doing in Argentina does not indicate a second season is coming. Fair enough. Totally agree. But you guys remember the Tales of the Jedi box that leaked around Christmas last year that had the logo ready to go? And we didn't get an official announcement until 6 months later. Okay. When I see something like this that obviously calls out it accurately depicts all the seasons of the show. It talks about if they're out now, if they're coming soon. Obi-Wan doesn't even put temporada uno because it doesn't have one season. It's just the show. So they got all of that right. And then they show 2 seasons of Book of Boba Fett. I took it as an indication that either Disney is planning to announce the second season, or maybe they were going to and then they changed their minds. I don't know. I do think we're getting a second season of the show. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to maybe even start kind of an alternating pattern where it's like Mandalorian 1 year and then a couple episodes of Book of Boba Fett to kind of, fill your belly in the meantime. I think they're going to maybe move to that model. What do you guys think here? I know a lot of people think this is a nothing burger. It doesn't mean anything, but I do think it's probably a light indication that they're at least discussing season 2 of Book of Boba Fett.
I have a hot take.
Okay.
I think it's 100% happening. I would love to see it fully in Spanish, and I want our Rancor teaching. Oh my God, the actor's name is eluding me.
Danny Trejo.
Johnny Trejo. I want him to speak in Spanish. I want Spanish to be officially canonized in Star Wars. That would be the most badass thing ever, guys.
I'd be okay.
But I honestly think it's no brainer. The show has garnered enough attention to get a season 2, even to a point where I'm looking, if you could scroll up a little bit and we see Kenobi there, and, Ewan McGregor is like, hey, we would like to we already see kind of like tremors in the air. I wouldn't be surprised even if Kenobi gets a second season.
I definitely see us we're getting a season 2, 100%.
Yeah.
And I think people are going to sleep on it. I have this feeling that season 2 is going to be 10 times better than season 1. Regardless of how you feel, if you love it, I think it's still going to be much better. I really think we're going to get a lot more Cobb Vanth. My theory right now is that season 2 is going to be what everyone wanted season 1 to be, in the sense that we had to get all the backstory out of the way. We got everybody caught up. Now we can go to work. We're going to have Cobb Vanth get out of that back to tank. Boba's going to leave him in charge of something. And then Boba's probably going to go after the twins.
Interesting.
Cad Bane is still alive in your theory?
I wish.
I don't know. I think it's kind of strange to get rid of him just like that. But I'm good either way.
I'll tell you.
Honestly, like if they want to bring him back, great. I love the character. If that's how it ended, okay.
So as a big positive Disney shill Star Wars guy myself,
yeah, we get checks every week.
I did have several adjustments I would have liked to see for Book of Boba Fett. I made a video about it. One thing I've told Jimmy about in the past, I do think it's important, even though we're positive guys and we like most content, when there's something I don't like, I think we have to share it in a very creative way, or in a very, I think kind and respectful way. But I do think it's okay to share it, because if people come to my channel and all I do is say I like Star Wars, no one wants to. I don't feel like a real person. I can't obviously like everything the same and equal. It's not real. And so the Book of Boba Fett has been my least favorite of the Star Wars TV projects. And the reason for that is I think they made a couple of decisions that just hindered the show. And one of those was the introduction of Cad Bane so late in the game. Hands down, he was the best part of the show for me personally. I thought he was absolutely phenomenally designed in practical effects. I thought the suit, and when I watched the behind the scenes, the making of Book of Boba Fett, I was even more impressed with the way they brought the character to life. His voice was just fantastic. His presence, the way they scored the music when he was there was absolutely phenomenal. And to bring him in the show for like 15 to 20 minutes of screen time, if you set him up as the villain in episode 1 or 2, or at least acknowledge that they have a rivalry, maybe it feels more earned. But for me, I just hated they introduced it so late in the game, and then they killed him. And I would tell you this, I think it was especially unsuccessful for non-fans of the Clone Wars. Because like my family who watched Book of Boba Fett, who didn't know who Cad Bane was like, who the heck was that guy? Should I have cared? And for fans like us who know the character in the history, it was like a way hyper moment. They didn't get that because they didn't really build him, I thought, well enough. But just my opinion. People could disagree. It's just
I think a very good point of improvement and to kind of like build faith with some of the fans who are unhappy with season 1 is to turn the ship around and actually turn Boba Fett into the scum and villainy, badass life taker kind of gangster guy that we didn't see in season 1, because he was trying to like rebuild his life, rule with respect. But then you could turn to season 2 and say, well, he's past that point because he saw how vicious all of these space criminals are, and he's just going to inadvertently become the Boba Fett we expect him to be.
Well, I got a counterpoint there, but I think I cut off Jimmy, so go ahead, Jimmy.
I was just going to add, I think the problem with the Cad Bane introduction was like to Scott's point, he said that they should have introduced him in episode 3. They either should have introduced him earlier in the season, or they should have found a way to redo that cut episode of the Clone Wars between Boba and Cad.
You know what I would have loved? Here's a total radical idea I just came up with that I put no thought into. At the end of season 1, you should show the Pikes go into Cad Bane and be like, we got to get rid of this Boba Fett, and then they set up that they're bringing Cad Bane in for the next season to deal with the issue.
That would have been sick.
How cool would it have been if like the after credit, the last scene
that would have been good,
is them like, the Pikes kind of like, oh, we'll pay you whatever you need or whatever. We need that, spice back or whatever. And it's just him with like the hat down. And he just kind of looks up. We'd have been like,
looks up.
Oh, we'd have been like, well, but instead it was like, they bring him in and it's awesome. He smokes Cobb Vanth, right? He's awesome in the show. He's super effective, intimidating. He's everything you want to see out of Cad Bane. He's amazing in live action, I thought. And it's like he was just gone so quick. And like we know the rivalry because we've all seen the Clone Wars. But for fans who don't, like it would have been probably not as nearly as exciting as it was for us. That's just again,
each show must stand on its own. Each story should be self-contained enough for anybody to catch up and be like, okay, I understand what is happening with this character.
Here's the problem too. I know I just said like I love Cad Bane. I kind of don't want them to bring him back because they have gotten themselves into a habit of letting characters who should be dead return. And I don't want that to be like too Star Warsy. Like every time a villain's dead, we know they're not. It's okay. I don't mind it when Reva survives. I don't mind it when the Grand Inquisitor survives. But it can't be every show every time. It just can't. That's just my opinion. But I do think El Libro de Boba Fett will make a return at some point. I have a feeling, and if they take a direction on it of like they bring it back every once in a while for like a 3 or 4 episode miniseries, I think that might work really well. It maybe just give us a little bit, because Tamira Morrison is just fantastic to the Star Wars community. He seems to love it. He was at Star Wars Celebration, had a lot of fan interaction. He means a lot to prequels fans for obviously his portrayal of Jango Fett and the clones. And watching the behind the scenes, I mean, he just seemed to be so excited to be there. And he had some. I know we just spent time criticizing the show, but I don't want to criticize his performance in particular. I thought he did a really great job. In particular, episode, was it 2 or 3, where he went on his kind of personal journey with the Tuskens, and did 2. I mean, it's fantastic performance there. I mean, great when they're doing the whole what is it, Knights of, or it's when they're jumping the train. It's definite vibes of an old movie where they do a train robbery. I can't remember the movie. Arabian Nights? No, it's whatever.
Every single other Westerner.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever. It was.
I was going to say Back to the Future 3.
It was a really great episode, and his performance I think was solid throughout. And as I've said, Book of Boba Fett episode 5, the first episode with the Mandalorian, is probably one of my favorite episodes of all Star Wars live action TV. It's so good when he's in the Undercity with the armor and with the Vislas, and they're fighting with the Darksaber and like the darkness of space, and it's just fascinating set design and really juicy references to Mandalorian lore, about wash, we got to be forgiven your sins by going to like wash and it's just so good and so well executed that the show had some just insanely high moments. Just overall wasn't as clean as I wish it was. So El Libro de Boba Fett may return. I think we might see that in
Johnny Trejo. We'll see you soon.
I hope so.
With 2 rancors this time.
I think we will see that in January 2025. No, 24. January 24.
Interesting. Okay.
January 24. Just made that prediction up on the fly. Cool. Okay. The next rumor of the week was, to me, not really that big of a surprise. This didn't surprise me at all. But reportedly, that Vader is going to make an appearance in the Ahsoka show. And that's because the stunt double who did the action scenes for Kenobi was reportedly on set for the Ahsoka show as they're actively filming. And I guess I'm not totally surprised. We strongly believe Hayden Christensen in the show. It was reported by the Hollywood Reporter. And then during the press tour for Obi-Wan, he was asked, point blank, are you going to be in the show? And he kind of played coy and was like, maybe, I don't know. And so we think he'll be there. Now, Blue Pig asked the question. I think a lot of us were thinking Clone Wars flashback of Master Apprentice kind of style where Anakin is mentoring young Ahsoka. So the inclusion of Vader, I think, threw some fans for a loop. But I could see them doing one of two things. Maybe just a flashback to one of the times Ahsoka, confronted Vader and, what her life was like during that whole Rebels era where she was kind of on the run. Or maybe it'll be some sort of vision where the dark side's tempting her or had tempted her in the past. And that was maybe the voice that reached out to her. I expect we're going to get Anakin in some form or fashion in the show. No doubt about it. Yeah. What do you guys think about our friend Hayden Christensen returning to Ahsoka? Will he be Vader? Will he just be Anakin? Ben, let's start with you. Is he going to be back?
I think he will be back. Once again, no matter what my impression was of Kenobi, which to me was my least favorite of Star Wars shows. And I honestly didn't get enough of him since his performance out in that one little duel that he had, little practice duel with Kenobi. I didn't feel like his acting really came through. He was just kind of there. He was obviously excited to be on the set, but that scene didn't do anything for me. I hope that for this one, they do exploit the past years of Ahsoka by her master's side. And we see Anakin in full swing, and they give Hayden Christensen more room to play around with and really explore their relationships beyond the Clone Wars television show the way we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Maybe some kind of interesting new dynamic, or you throw them in a kind of conflict that they didn't have before, where a new angle, a new perspective emerges of how she viewed this guy, and only add to the tragedy when he falls and he becomes Darth Vader, which I think it will anchor Hayden Christensen much more to the current Star Wars, which once again, I'll repeat this. I'm so happy that he's back. He looked excellent in the show. Maybe a little bit kind of like de-aging techniques here and there.
Not so too, but apparently
I was totally fine with the way he looked at it. I just want more of him.
I was so happy to see him at Star Wars Celebration getting all the love. It was really sweet.
Absolutely. I think to me, that was my swan song, where I didn't enjoy the show, just the presence of the actors, how excited they are, and fans are receiving, and you guys loved it. For me, it was still like, oh, that's cool. I can accept that.
Yeah, understood. Jimmy, the man himself. Are we seeing? What are we seeing? What are we seeing in Ahsoka?
Okay, let me use my mind's eye and see the future for that. So I think before Kenobi came out, there was a lot of rumors of having a bunch of Clone Wars flashbacks in the show because Hayden was coming back. I think we got pre-episode 2 flashbacks in Kenobi because we're going to get Clone Wars flashbacks in Ahsoka. Mm-hmm. That way you had Hayden come back as a Padawan, and now you're going to see him as a Jedi Knight with the long hair again. I definitely see that happening. And we'll probably get something Vader-esque in there. I don't think we're going to get like a flashback to the Malachor issue. I think it's going to be more so... I don't know. I have a feeling like she might like hallucinate or something and like see it out of the corner of her eye, or maybe like there's like a Dagobah cave sequence, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's
100%
her
I can see
show,
that.
so
Or,
she
you know,
has to
if they
dive
want to do
into
the
it.
whole world between worlds thing,
Mhm.
Yeah, it seems like they will in some
who
capacity.
knows what's going to happen.
I really liked the Rebels confrontation. I thought it was really, really emotional and well done. And I don't think they're going to redo it in live action. I got to be honest with you. I know people disagree with me, but I would be fine seeing it again because I think it might be kind of cool if like it's a flashback for fans who've never watched Rebels. So when the actress made the comment, "Hey, you know, you didn't have to watch Rebels to understand the show," it could be even they fill in some of the details. Like it could even be like a quick flashback of Anakin and her in the Clone Wars, and then them fighting on, in their duel. And they just, don't show the whole story. They just show snippets of their life throughout time.
Mm-hmm.
Or they can maybe get creative and over several episodes show a flashback of them during the Clone Wars together, and her on the run, and her running into old Rex or whatever and the crew, and then her confrontation with Vader. You could just kind of do it as like a thread throughout the show, and that could be kind of a fun way to do it.
I just think,
Dave?
because this show is going to be something, I really think this is going to be an anchor point that connects the rest of the shows. And so I think it's just very hard to gauge any idea as to what to expect, because with all of the possibilities we have, including, the idea of bringing back Hayden, the world between worlds, Ezra, Thrawn, it's going to be out there.
And it's Dave Filoni.
It's Dave Filoni,
yep.
yeah.
Aesthetically different. It's going to have a different set of ideas. I think it's going to feel quite different from the rest of the shows.
And went exactly where I was going with this. To me, is the most Filoni of the shows. He seems to be really all in on this, which I will be very curious to see how that plays out. For me personally, I know a lot of people are really excited for Andor, and rightfully so. I think it's looked fantastic. But Ahsoka is definitely my most anticipated show, because I think it has the highest ceiling, if that makes sense. It has the most potential to do something really incredible, because a lot of fans, I like to think of these things from a perspective outside of us super fans who are spending Thursday night talking to other Star Wars fans, people who just watch Star Wars every couple years. Like, what do these characters mean to them? Ahsoka doesn't mean anything to them outside of a couple cameo appearances. I mean, really think about that, guys. They might like the character when they see her, but they don't have that kind of relationship we do from the Clone Wars. And so this show has a chance to introduce them not just to a character that the fans have grown to love, but also a whole crew, the whole Rebel crew, that they can learn to love. And it could do a lot of really exciting things for just casuals too. I'm very, that to me alone adds a lot of ceiling potential. It could really give fans outside of us a look into this amazing extended era. And so anyway, that's kind of how I feel about it. And I'm super hyped for it. I don't really care who's in it, honestly. I just am excited that we're getting,
Johnny Trejo is going to be in it with 3 Rancors.
Danny Trejo's in there with the Rancors.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it indeed. Okay. Ahsoka, next year, we will visit our fan favorite. Now, let's take a little book break. I got some book guys here on my right. Speaking of the juicy goodness, first, I wanted to just show you guys and everyone here in chat.
Let's see.
Look at this beautiful cover in person. Not mine. An early review copy here. Is this cover art not fantastic?
This is from EK, isn't it?
Awesome.
It's so good. I don't even I'm not like super pumped for this book. Like, I'll read it. Like, I'm not like,
I'm interested.
Exactly. I'm interested. But this cover, I'm like, I feel like I have to buy it just to put it on a shelf somewhere, because it's gorgeous art. Full cover, fantastic. I love the blending into to the blues and the greens. I mean, to me, I really eat this up. It looks very retro in a very good way. Like,
I just realized that's Andor beneath them.
Yeah.
I really did not look hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
Looks really good. Oh, for my Legends crew, do you like the book? Do you guys like this art here?
I'm loving this art. It channels like early Bantam era for me. It almost looks like a retro Art Deco style movie poster. And I'm really, really excited about this book. I just pulled this one out of my shelf, guys. One of the first earliest Star Wars novels I ever read. And obviously, Dave Wolverton is going to be virtually impossible to match. So I think it's a lost idea to even begin to compare the two and say, oh, is it going to be anything like this book? I'm not going to do that, guys. I don't even want it to be anything similar to that. But indeed, this felt very special to me because it was that first foray into Hans and Leia relationship past the film. Yeah. And it takes place very recently after episode 6. So I'm very excited, being a fan of Star Wars canon novels and seeing and enjoying how new authors are playing up with these ideas and take it into a different direction. I'm very curious to see what this author, Beth Reeves is going to do with it. And once again, I think the best way to go into it is without any expectation.
Yeah.
Just to see what kind of ideas she'll give us. But I really hope that this novel will not just be like a wedding kind of like centerpiece. Like, oh, by the way, they're getting married, and spent like chapters on them preparing for it. I want them really to be thrown into the conflict and a grand adventure. In the midst of it all, they find their love once again.
That'd be fun. I really like the likeness they captured. It looks very, very, on par with the actors. It looks really good. Very excited.
Yeah, because that's one thing I'll say. Like a lot of the Bantam books, I love the artwork, but there are some times where like the facial painting is not good.
Yeah, I get you. They nailed it here, though. I mean, really kudos. I love so much about the cover of this book.
I would get that as a poster.
Guys, I like the font. I like the R on the font. I mean, I'm just a sucker for what they do.
Yeah, and and I think the cool thing about this is like they took an approach with this that they did with Shadow of the Sith, is that they're changing the position of where it says Star Wars. So like this one, they have it in the long version as opposed to the collapsed.
Yep.
And then on Shadow of the Sith, they did it like sideways toward the bottom. So I like the I guess the just the new look to it. And I wonder if it's going to be like that on the spine as well, because I know a lot of the early canon books did that, like Tarkin.
That's a good point. I really like Shadow of the Sith cover as well, also in a related vein there.
It's a good one.
It would be also very nice to see while she's like swooning over Han. I would love for them to go back to episode 4 a little bit and just to see once again Leia's feelings on the lost Alderaan. Right, we see a little bit in the comic books. Obviously, we have the Leia mini series run. I believe it was like 5 or 6 issues where she's dealing with it directly, immediately after. But here, even though it's 4 years past, I still want to see a little bit of that.
And I think that would make sense too, just because from the moment Alderaan is destroyed all the way up to where this book's going to take place, there really isn't a lot of mourning time for her.
Exactly,
it's just go.
Agreed.
Go.
And one thing I thought Kenobi did, whether you like the show or not, I really enjoyed the time we spent in Alderaan. Just remind you there are people there.
I definitely think that was important, because like before, every time Alderaan gets destroyed, I'm like, whoa,
who cares?
That was a whole planet. Yeah. And now when I see Alderaan and Kenobi, I'm like, I'm in pain from watching this.
And it looked stunning visually.
It did.
Absolutely.
It looked really good. One other note I will call, two other book related notes. First of all, I just want to highlight my most anticipated Legends Essential re-release that's coming very soon, August 2nd. Darth Maul Shadowhunter is coming. And the reason I'm very excited for this is the Audible version will be narrated by the voice from the Clone Wars himself, Mr. Sam Witwer.
Sam Witwer is going to do this?
Yeah, he's doing the voice.
Wait, what?
The Audible voice, yes.
Are you what?
Yep.
See, I like that because I can't think of her name, but the voice actress that does Padme did all of the Queen's novels.
Oh, that's fun.
It's really cool. Yeah.
That. I like that a lot.
I want to hear Sam Witwer do this. This is how I'm gonna listen. This is how I'm gonna.
Yeah, he's an amazing voice actor. I love
this.
Him.
This is one where I'm not even joking. Like, even for people who aren't big fans of audio books, this is probably the exception, right? Because it's like you have the beloved character coming in, and
yeah, because that's a lot of things. When they have someone that comes in to read the part, sometimes I'm like, I can hear Anakin in my head, and you're giving it an honest try, but it's just not the same. So hearing him like, no, that's actually Darth Maul. Talking.
You'll see right here, Michael Reeves is the author, Sam Witwer narrator. I saw him tweet this out, which is why I knew, and that is dope, guys. That's extremely exciting.
Yeah,
so
man.
For me,
brilliant.
I'm saying it could be really good. So very excited for this. Comes out August 2nd. So add that the collection.
Then hopefully they'll do Maul Lockdown, and he can do that one too.
Right.
I'm sure it all depends.
Yeah, that would totally make sense.
Yeah.
Now, the final bit of comic news. Jimmy did a little bit of a breakdown
yes, I did.
On the channel about Star Wars. Was it issue 25?
Issue 25, yes.
And it is going to take place after, or part of it's going to take place after The Rise of Skywalker. Is that a true statement?
Really?
Yes. I'll explain. I won't give anything away. No spoilers. I read this the other morning, and it was really cool because I was a little worried. I was like, yeah, this is issue 25. What comes before it has nothing to do with those issues. This is a celebration. This is from the main Star Wars Marvel line. This is the 100th comic that has been put out, done by Charles Soule.
Okay.
So this is a combination of 4 stories based on characters that he's already written for. So there's a short story that goes with Anakin and Obi-Wan, Kylo Ren, Darth Vader, and Poe Dameron. So those are 4 comic lines that he did. So we have a really cool one, and there's descriptions of this that you can find on Twitter as well. So like Obi-Wan and Anakin, it's called The Lesson. It takes place between episodes 1 and 2. And then you have the Darth Vader one, which is called, I can't remember the name of it. It's another lesson-based one, and it takes place, I think it says between 5 and 6. And then, or no, I'm sorry, a little bit after episode 3. Kylo Ren's takes place between 8 and 9, and it's called See Ya Around, Kid. That's a very good one. And the last one is called A Eulogy for Snap from the Poe Dameron comic, and it takes place after episode 9. So if you want to read this, you don't need to read any of the other comics to understand. They're like 5 pages per story, really well written, and each story has a different artist attached to it.
Cool.
So it's all done by Charles Soule, different artist for each one.
There you go. It's your first bit of comic news in this new unexplored universe. I will say around the Darth Vader comic line, I am not caught up on the Darth Vader comic run currently. I have a very hard time keeping up with comic runs. I mean, it's hard. You know, there's a lot of issues, and you got to wait sometimes month to month, and it can just be hard to kind of keep it all together. And so I am not. Although I have to tell you guys, I was looking over here on Utini as we were talking, and there are just some fantastic covers coming to, let me share my screen here. There are some fantastic cover arts coming to the comics in recent weeks. That gets me pretty excited, honestly. Like, makes me want to pick up some of these comics. Like, look at this one here. That's awesome. I mean, that's just super cool. And what makes me kind of sad about this is, I don't know about you guys, but I've been doing comics digitally recently through Comixology, and it's not the same.
It is a nightmare.
Yeah.
But I don't have a local comic store I really can go to in my area. And so it's just hard. These are fantastic covers.
Yeah, that art is so good.
These are fantastic covers.
Very retro.
I love it. And they've got we got a new omnibus collection coming out for Star Wars Legends: The New Republic.
Ooh.
That's a cool cover right there in itself.
That is a cool cover.
Yeah. I'm going to be grabbing those every volume of hardcover releases they do. And even a couple of my friends have been trying to put me on Dr. Aphra, even though I brushed with the character momentarily. I wasn't a huge fan. And the guys have been telling me, like, hey, check out her book. You know, picked up omnibus up. It's just a different experience, but they have a whole comic in front of you. Open it, you get like a sense of smell of new pages as you flip it, and just like enjoy the artwork. It's just so much fun, man.
And I think that's one of the plus sides and one of the downsides to reading them digitally, because digitally there's a little section where you can double tap on your screen if you're like on an iPad or your phone, and it'll give you panel by panel, so you don't like get spoiled by what's underneath it, you know, which is cool. But at the same time, when you have those big 2-page spreads, you have to go to everything, and then it'll zoom out and show you the whole scale. So it's hit or miss. But I mean, you know, I think they're both, you know, same price of $4 per issue isn't bad, but when they got 6 comic runs and you're trying to get all of them, it adds up.
What I do like about comics, and I'm like, forgive me if my wording is clunky here, but I think people know what I mean. What's kind of fun about comics is I consider them like lesser canon. Like, whoa, what do you mean? I mean, like, I feel like they're always a little more free to be fun and over the top and not take themselves too seriously. And even if they're canon, guys, let's call it what it is. If Disney or whoever decides they want to make a movie that trounces on a comic, they will not care, because the movies are the highest form of canon, then books, and then comics. That's just kind of how I've seen it demonstrated to me. Does not mean they won't take characters from the comics, like Black Chrysanthemum, right? He's in there now, chilling in live action. But I just will be honest with you, like, I like it. I think it's a good thing for Star Wars comics. I say it as a compliment. Like, they get more freedom to do wild and wacky things, and, you know, have Luke on the cover with a yellow lightsaber. And I seem to be, you know, not in the popular comment here with chat, but Doesn't mean they're worse. It just means
And
I
it's
think
always been this way, Josh. It's even in Legends, it's like there was always a hierarchy. Yes, there were canon at one point. Yes, had a very strong connective tissue, but the novels always superseded the comics, and anything it was like a show or live action, like when the Clone Wars started coming out, obviously
preceded both.
back in the days, it's preceded. And the comic books, you're absolutely accurate to point it out. Even when we go to Legends comics, Jim, you've read some of the Legends.
Of course,
comics,
yeah.
Right, so you could also testify to this. Like they're so outlandish sometimes and so out there, and I really get to explore them and play around with ideas. And I always enjoy that.
So like when it goes to like continuity and all that, like the reason that Star Wars Legends is such a mess sometimes is because there's a lot of people stepping over each other between the books and the comics. They're trying to do less of that in canon, but they've already started to do a little bit of it. But the thing is like, like we say it's lesser canon, we still see it as canon, but like there's some stuff that is a little weird, like the Star Wars Adventure line where they had the haunted Vader's castle issues. They're fun. I don't know how they're necessarily supposed to be canon, but like I'll accept it as canon. That's fine.
It's, to me, I almost treat them
not
like,
a lot rides on them.
I treat them like folklore, and I mean that in a positive way. Where like it's like stories that are told in the universe about these characters that might be a little over the top, or I heard they went to Vader's haunted castle. Like you can see stuff like that.
And some of them hold more weight than others. Like the main Star Wars line, I believe, is when they discover the holocron of Avar Kriss, which was our first hint at the High Republic. So
yeah, it's true. But again, I mean that in a positive way. They're just a different form of canon, and I like that. Okay, well, guys, I do want to say one more thing about TV shows. We took a little break, but we did get some TV show news too. One of my most, shows, Skeleton Crew. I don't know what to expect. This thing could be a total home run. But the budget apparently is $136 million for the first season. You're like, why do I care? Well,
so here's where I got to chime in. I think I missed this thing. Is Skeleton Crew supposed to be a show? I thought it was a movie.
No, I think it's a show.
It's a show. Yeah.
It's a show.
All right. I was out of the loop there.
Yeah, it's a
Carry
show.
on.
You want my honest, like, if someone was like, Josh, give me like your elevator pitch. This is Star Wars Stranger Things. That's my guess here. It's a group of young kids lost in space, and it's like kind of they said they're going to go very like E.T. 80s vibes with it, like where it's like so to me, it's like, okay, you're trying to make your own, fun, young adventure show, right? It's kind of, I don't mean like it's going to copy, there's an alternate universe with Upside. No, I just mean like, it's like we need a young group of likable actors that we can grow with over the next 5 to 10 years and tell fun adventure stories, in that same kind of vein of the 80s.
I kind of like that.
I just
really hope they stop using the phrase "Lost in Space" because I keep thinking of the original Lost in Space show.
Oh yeah.
Guys, I'm the most excited about the show of all the things that have been announced from one single reason. I'm super excited for it because I'm a huge fan of Young Jedi Knights. And to me, when you read children's young adult books, they basically have all the pedigree of great Star Wars storytelling, but they kind of distill the story down for you, right? They take all the core elements that make a strong story, and because the story needs to be less wordy, so it's more understandable, digestible for kids, all the great parts, if the book is indeed great, they really get to shine.
Yeah.
And I think with this one, if indeed they're going the same route as, kind of Stranger Things, kind of like a play on 80s, or J.J. Abrams, what was it called? Super 8?
Super 8. I love Super 8.
Right. Amazing film. Yeah. I think this has a great potential to be playful in that sense and not abide by the kind of the tone of the Jedi versus Sith that we'll always look in our stories of Boba Fett. He needs to be a real gangster. All of these qualities and expectations that we superimpose on Star Wars, this could be completely free of it. It's just a bunch of friends on a spaceship exploring the unexplored and be what it may. It doesn't need to be about the Force, right? It doesn't need to include Jedi or Sith lore. It could be something interesting.
And what got me most excited about it is I see some people talk about this in chat, like, hey, what's the show about? I don't know what the show's about. I kind of like that. I'm with you guys where we basically all we were told in Star Wars Celebration is it's about a group of young, whatever, we don't know what species they are, young humanoid, we don't know, who are literally lost in space. And we know Jude Law's in the show.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And what I really wanted to highlight here is the budget of $136 million is more than the first season of The Mandalorian, and it's more than the Book of Boba Fett. So, they didn't cheap out for the first season. It seems like they're putting money into this.
Yeah.
16 million more than The Mandalorian, 36 million more than the Book of Boba Fett tells me they have vision for this show. I expect they're going to want to carry this over many years. And let us grow with the crew.
Yeah. It makes total sense they're investing into it because understanding Disney Plus demographics, right? They want to anchor kids more. I don't think they dropped both Ewoks and the droids show there by accident. They threw them on there, right? Because to start catching the younger children on this whole Star Wars IP. And now what's the best next thing to do for a younger audience that you get them forever hooked so their parents pay for Disney's Plus channel? Give them a show. This
was the picture they revealed at Star Wars Celebration. That's why it looks kind of like crummy quality. Someone took a picture on their phone. I think this picture alone, like, I love it. I love the vibe of the ship. I like the way it looks like dark, and it does look very like 80s, like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where it's like the ship's coming down and like the wind's blowing them. It's just, I don't know. It's got the good vibes to it. I like it.
I think one thing that makes me excited for this show is the fact that I don't think it's not going to be connected to much. And I've been saying this for a while. I've been jokingly saying, like, I want movies in the Star Wars universe that have nothing to do with what's going on. Like, I want a 2003 rom-com in Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? It just happens to be in that universe. Just like the characters in universe would be watching a Holo. And that's what I think we're going to kind of get this here. This is going to be something that's more like the Holo you would see in like a bar or a cantina or something,
We sort of got that with the Ewoks show. I mean, the only familiar thing is Andor. Everything else is like a random family, right, stuck on a random ship.
Yeah, like this won't tie into, Return of the Jedi or Rogue One. At least right now we think that. So I think it's just going to be its own story that happens to take place within the Star Wars universe. I think that's cool.
But it would be nice if they introduced Johnny Trejo like as a pilot.
He's the
right. It's how they it's how they domesticated the first Rancor. It's like the whole story of the show. Funny. I love the name too, Skeleton Crew. I think that's really fun. I like that a lot. I'm very excited for that. We got a couple other show bits. Smaller news, I'll say less reputable, because that budget is from a Hollywood Reporter. It's a very well respected publication. We did get some info from the Bespin Bulletin, who, I'm not entirely, they might be onto something here. I don't know. But reportedly, the director of Loki, Kate Herron, has been picked or is currently tapped to do the Acolyte show, to be the director for the Acolyte.
Loki.
I actually think Loki is the best of the Disney Plus Marvel shows.
Oh, wow.
So to me, it's like I'm like, okay, cool. There's a couple things in particular about the show I think work better. I really liked Moon Knight in moments. I think Moon Knight had some really, really powerful moments. In particular, not gonna spoil the show if you haven't watched it yet. It's worth a watch. There's some. They deal with some like family tragedy in a very mature way for Marvel, who I think typically does an average to below average job at taking serious moments really well. And then I thought there were some really cool character moments for for Moon Knight. And then I thought the very end of the show, the after credit scene, is really, really fun. But inconsistent throughout. There were episodes that were like really good, but just it felt like lower budget, if that makes sense. It felt like they didn't go all out for it. So I held Loki higher. Because Loki throughout took a concept that I really wasn't excited for. I gotta be honest with you guys. When he survived in Endgame, I was like, oh my gosh, we get it. Everyone likes Loki. I don't need to see him for the 50th time. I ended up watching a show where I'm like, dang, I like this. And like they introduced some, they really had, I thought, good visuals, good score to it. So she seemed to have a good eye for those kind of pieces of the director.
So you think all of this will translate into the show?
Exactly. That's what I'm kind of hoping for. Loki also took things seriously when it needed to. And the reason I keep highlighting that is Marvel, I'm not talking about the Taika Waititi directed movies that are trying to be comedies. I'm talking about like Age of Ultron, where you have like your, 10-foot killer robot made of vibranium, sitting there like making jokes as he's dying. Like, I hate that stuff. I hate when he's like, with the added benefit of hindsight, and they knock him off a cliff. It's like, dude, I don't need this every time, right? So when Marvel does handle serious things well, like how they did in Loki and in Moon Knight, I like to highlight that because it tells me that the director probably had some influence there and got to like get their point across. So anyway, so I'd be cool if she was directing it. I'm not sure, Jimmy, how you feel if you've watched Loki.
So I covered the story initially on our channel when it came out, and I'm on board for it. I was very excited for the Loki show. The Loki show was amazing because the director I think she did a phenomenal job. She was able to capture this feeling of, it's very investigative, but also it's filled with paranoia, like what is this higher power that's making the TVA do what it does? And you kept questioning that, and you kept getting like a little bit more nervous as each episode got closer to the end. I think, because right now the article says that she's been rumored that she's been approached about the project. There's no confirmation of anything, but if she were to take on that show, I think it'd be great. I think it's exactly what the show needs.
I'll trust your opinion on this, guys, because I haven't watched Loki, like WandaVision, none of these. I've been like oversaturated with my superhero shows. I'll get around them eventually because
you just don't need to watch a new one.
Yeah.
I think Loki is my favorite of the series. I really like Moon Knight. I mean, Oscar Isaac is so good in the show.
His performance is Oscar worthy.
Really good.
Oscar Isaac needs an Oscar.
He's really good in the show. I really like him. He's portraying different personas, obviously, and I mean, he's just so good on screen. Like, you just like him. You feel bad for him when he's trying to be sympathetic. You find him charming when he's trying to be there. He's just, it's like one of those guys you just can't not like. You're watching him, you're like, yeah, I can't. Like, you're just so endearing. And in particular, without spoiling, there's like a moment of kind of family trauma and things that he acts in, and I think he does a really, really good job in that moment, which required that acting chops. So
very emotionally heavy too.
It is. The show's very heavy. I'll give them credit. They had a very heavy. One episode in particular is very heavy.
That's what my brother said. Yeah, he watched it with his wife, and he told me like that's one of the shows when I get back on that Marvel horse, I should check it out because it has that very like heavy gritting.
It does. You will like. I would be surprised, Ben, if you liked Moon Knight less than Loki. I think you'll probably like Moon Knight the best because Loki is like Marvel. But what I liked about Loki did some like, I guess here's why I'd kind of leave it. When I went into Loki, I didn't want to like it. I just told you I didn't like. They kept him alive. I felt it was convoluted just to get this actor everyone loves, and we get it. He's charming and likable, and it's like, oh, we're gonna have this multiverse time travel stuff. I don't care. This stuff's stupid. And by the end of the show, I really liked the characters they introduced, and I liked the whole premise. And it's the only Marvel show outside of Moon Knight that I'd want to see a second season of. And that to me is like a victory for them. I was a non-believer, and they made me want a second season. So that to me is either it was a good script or a good director, or they had some sort of combination that got me on board. Also, the score is really good. Look, it's like the most like techno-y, funky kind of fun one of the shows.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, that's all the little Star Wars news. Little stories, little talk. Again, we are in the calm before the storm. Weeks away from Andor, where we get to see Emo, our new favorite droid.
Yep.
Right. I need to get the Emo hot toy for the room. Our new Gonk our new honorary Gonk, because he looks like a Gonk. What else, guys? Is there anything else you want to talk about Star Wars tonight? Is there anything burning on your minds?
I mean, the only thing I can think of right now is I'm excited for Padawan to come out next week.
Right.
Because
that's right.
That's coming up. I think it's early next week. I want to say it's next Tuesday. That's just a guess. But that's going to be coming out. And then I think Princess and the Scoundrel is August, right?
Padawan is July 26th, which is next Tuesday, I believe.
Nice.
And then August 16th is the Princess and the Scoundrel.
So, yeah, we're going to have at least two really good books, I believe, right before Andor. So we got a little bit of Star Wars stuff there that we will be covering. And then it's going to go like the roller coaster is going up, and when Andor starts, we're going down fast, and we're going to go through Andor, the Bad Batch, Tales of the Jedi, everything. High Republic in October.
Yeah, it's going to be wild.
Yeah.
It's going to be wild.
And it's not going to stop, too, because then all the other shows coming out in January, or not in January, but in 2023, going straight for Mando and Ahsoka. We're going to be busy.
I got to tell you guys, 2022 is like we need to take a second here sometimes, and like I like to take time every once in a while and just like acknowledge how much fun it's been over the last year, and like how lucky we are to live in a time and in a place where we can talk Star Wars and watch but not just Star Wars. I mean, I'm thinking of all the movies I've watched in the last year. Dune, which you guys know I adore. The Batman, which I adore. Everything Everywhere All at Once, which was fantastic. I just talked about this movie from India, RRR, that I just loved watching. I've had shows like Stranger Things and Kenobi that I'd love to watch. We've been so lucky that I think, one of the reasons I'm like the cheesy, positive guy is like life is kind of hard, guys. Life is hard. It's challenging. Sad things happen all the time. Work can be stressful. You can have family tragedies, all sorts of things. And, I just, these kind of things like Star Wars, talking Star Wars with you guys, and the shows and movies, like they're just a really nice time for us to step aside and just enjoy, right? And so I think I'd be remiss to not mention like what a good couple years we've had here. We got Avatar later this year. We got Nope tomorrow. If you like kind of scary movies, I mean, it's just so much fun. And I think we're lucky. We're lucky to be where we are in this country. We could be in a lot darker places as far as being able to enjoy watching Star Wars with our friends. So just wanted to say I'm thankful for the last year and for hanging out with you guys and everyone on the channel. And even if the Star Wars is not always the best, I mean, I can't help but at least be enjoying it with you guys. So anyway.
I can't tell you, Josh, where I would have been if it wasn't for Star Wars Legends back in the day. Those books got me through the darkest periods of my life, right? And now that we have more books to boot, we have the comic books, we have all the new video game announcements. I'm telling you, it's even with my reaction, and you guys saw it, and we will bring it back and forth with the Kenobi show that it didn't deliver for me. For every Kenobi, there's something else out there that just blows your mind so much. It's like, and you can always pick and choose and say, like, you know what? Star Wars is kind of healthy. It's doing fine. It's just not all of it is great like it always has been. It's always been that way. It's like people always pick and choose. So I want to second what you just said, that sentiment. It's great to be back here jamming with you guys, having a good time, looking forward to more shows, discuss them. I really enjoy, after I finish my latest Star Wars book, to run to your channel, see what Jim has to say about the Shadow of the Sith or the next book. That's the fun of it. That's like kicking it back with friends and just seeing the ideas, what they like or dislike, and how their personal opinions kind of shift your perspective to and say, you know what? I didn't see it this way before. Let me take a closer look.
I like
Couldn't agree more. Yeah.
I like it. It's fun, guys. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, the reason I love this channel and this Thursday night stream is just think about, we got people here in chat. We got a lot of our common fans who come and chat with us every week, and those who watch the stream after the fact and talk and chat. I mean, we're from all over the world, all different backgrounds, all different histories, and we can all kind of get together and just chat about this. It's kind of amazing. I mean, really it is. And it just 20 years ago, this was impossible. This just couldn't really exist like this. And so it's just cool to sometimes just like, hey, look at this is wild. This is just super fun. So cheesy stuff over for the night, I promise. Just it's I'm just sitting here thinking like, I got it pretty good. We got it pretty good right now, and it's nice to just acknowledge that. So, well, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for getting back with the original crew. We're all back for a Thursday.
Good to be back.
And I'm suspecting that on the horizon we might need to have a little bit of an Andor night before stream, maybe like last time when we did Kenobi and we talk about it. So look out for that. Let us know down below what you want to see on future shows. It was a lot of fun this week, guys. Appreciate you showing up late. I know we started late, so thank you for staying here late. That's all I got to say. Anything else, guys?
Thank you for everyone for joining us tonight. Once again, it's great to be back, and hopefully we'll do this on a more regular basis.
Yeah, I haven't been here for like a month. It's just been problem after problem after problem, but I'm still here and I'm still kicking out content. We've got our review of Shadow of the Sith. It's up right now, and hopefully sometime this weekend I'll have a full review for Star Wars Brotherhood as well as issue 25, so we can go over all those little anthologies and talk about some episode 9 stuff. That'd be cool. And then we got Padawan next week. We'll have a review for that as well. I'm going to be busy, but
true.
I hope you check it out.
And I see the guys in chat talking about Discord. I think some of the fans made a Discord, not managed by us, but they did, fans of the show. Blue Pig or whoever's got the link, drop it in either this video once we end going live, or drop in the video before. I think I lost the link you sent me last time, but we can definitely check it out in the future. And then, maybe we need to have some community polls on what to talk about and things like that going forward.
Yeah,
we'll have to think about it. We'll have to get control of this Discord server. Really take it over ourselves.
we need to liberate it and be in charge of. Wait, we can't do that. Sorry.
We're about to order 66 of Blue Pig here when he gives us the
We're like, thank you for the Discord.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Blue Pig deleted. Okay, so you bring up something good though, Blue Pig. So don't remake it. We've talked about it. We do need to get some sort of Discord for the community, for Timeline's friends and for our channel friends. And no, you can wait, Blue Pig. Just wait. We'll get it up and we'll make people mod. We'll figure it out. We got to do the logistics here. We'll call it something trendy, like Gabbing Gonks.
Skeleton crew.
Yeah, skeleton crew.
Skeleton Gonks.
All right. Very good, guys. Thank you for stopping by. We'll see y'all again